Good morning all. I deemed it a great honor and privilege to welcome you for webinar on artificial intelligence and mental health exploring the synergy. Let me first of all start by giving glory to Almighty God for making today's occasion a resounding success. We first thank the management for creating this wonderful platform where we are able to form a forum to share our thoughts. We are grateful to our principal Dr. Jayasudha A, who is really a guiding and constant motivating force behind our endeavor. We have the mental health nursing department. We are organizing this webinar under our vice principal, Professor Meera Saravanan. It gives me an immense pleasure to introduce today's first speaker, Mrs. G. Nirmala, PhD scholar, lecturer, nursing department, College of Health and Sports Science, Ministry of Higher Education, University of Bahrain. Mrs. G. Nirmala secured an undergraduate degree with a Best Outgoing Graduate and Best Clinical Nurse Award from PhD College of Nursing 1994 batch. Postgraduate from NIMANS with a distinction in research and doing a doctoral degree from Annamalai University, Chidambaram, India. She was awarded the Appreciated for Scientific Paper and Quality Committee Appreciation Award from University of Bahrain. She was worked as assistant professor and clinical instructor at PhD College of Nursing and staff nurse in PhD Hospital. She has plenty of international publications. I wish you a productive and enjoyable guest lecture. Now I welcome G. Nirmala to start the session on digital therapeutics in mental health.
Good morning to one and all present here today. Thank you, Dr. Bhaskar, for that wonderful introduction. I thank Dr. Jayasudha ma'am for giving me this golden opportunity as an alumni and as a faculty from the International University to present here today at my alma mater. This is really precious and memory in the career journey. I also wish the speaker, Dr. Gopalakrishnan, for a wonderful presentation following my presentation today. And I wish all my colleagues and the students present here a very bright future. With these small words, I would like to start my presentation today on digital therapeutics. Just a moment. Are you able to see my screen? Yes?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah, fine. Today our session will cover what we are going to define digital therapeutics. We are going to
slides or lemon.
Sorry?
Slides full view or lemon.
Okay. Ipo seriya?
Yes.
I think now it's fine. Okay, we are going to define digital therapeutics, and we are going to enumerate various forms of digital therapeutics available in the market. And we are going to analyze the role of digital therapeutics in mental health and discuss the advantages and disadvantages of digital therapeutics and outline the role of nurse in digital therapeutics. So this is in short about the presentation today. So the digital therapeutics is an unparalleled pace of technological revolution which has transformed all our lives. Today, none of the individual lives without a smartphone. So we live in a technological era where we continuously switch between the multiple devices for most of the day. Either we use the smartphone or the laptop, or we switch on to a live session like today's webinar, or either of the technological devices we keep using the whole day. So innovations in digital space have now made it possible for the consumers to use portable devices to access every aspect of medical need, which is more easier than visiting a doctor in person. So historically, the digital therapeutics was mainly confined to academia and technological companies. Why I say it's confined to academia and technological companies? Because it is like, there is a lot of research and development which happens in digital therapeutics, and the pharmacological companies mainly, they launch these products to the through clinical trials to the population or to the public for use later on. So they are the two main companies which are involved in the manufacturing and implementation of digital therapeutics. The potential to use digital therapeutics in conjunction with medicine to improve health outcomes has sparked the interest of big pharma, who has started the venture into digital therapeutic space through investments, strategic partnerships with technological companies. So who introduced this concept of digital therapeutics? So Dr. Joseph Wader from Boston led a program to learn and develop the application of technology for delivering the care outside the hospital to like one doctor who is able to cover many patients who is not reaching to the hospital but outside the boundary of the hospital. That's how digital therapeutics came into force. Sorry. The exciting, somebody is raising hand here. Dr. Bhaskar, do they have any queries? The advancement will create opportunities to increase patient awareness in health and their ability to play a more active role in managing the disease, thereby creating a potential to improve the health outcomes and reducing the demands on the healthcare system compared to the traditional pharmacological intervention. So whenever a person or a patient is sick, they go to the hospital, they get assessed by the doctor, and then they wait for the medication or for the diagnostic procedure, and then they will be moving on to have a surgery or getting discharged home. Now, this process is made much easier through digital therapeutics. The digital therapeutics, it enables the patient to perform the assessment wherever they are through the virtual platform, and then even the medications can be prescribed virtually if it is possible, and also the follow-up can be done through the virtual platform as such, and patient is followed up through the app which is created through which they are connected through. The digital therapeutics market is expected to grow at tenfold in the next 5 years, which with a projected market value of about 9 to 10 billion US dollars by 2025. However, this presents a lot of challenges. How technology will be regulated? What kind of regulatory authority will be there to oversee the digital therapeutics? How healthcare providers will respond to this paradigm shift, and how these technologies are reimbursed? So now let us look into the definition of digital therapeutics. Digital therapeutics is a category of digital health solutions that evidence-based therapeutic intervention driven by software to prevent, manage, or treat a medical disorder or a disease. So it can be a cardiovascular disease, it can be diabetes, it can be a neurological condition, it can be like what we are talking today about the mental disorders like anxiety, depression, ADHD or attention deficit hyperactivity disorder. Whatever be it, it is a digital health solution which is evidence-based therapeutic interventions driven by the software. In our common understanding, the digital therapeutics are patient-facing software application that help the patients treat, prevent, and manage a disease. So, for example, there is a person who has a sleep problem. So, he wants his sleep difficulty to get fine. So, he will be accessing this app called Sleepio. Okay. So in order to prevent problems like stress or anxiety, there are apps which are developed in the digital therapeutic platform. In order to manage a disease, now there is a person who's diagnosed with anxiety and he has to manage the disease with the cognitive behavioral intervention. Also can be done through the digital therapeutics. The examples of digital therapeutic applications include digital sensors, which are kept within the patient's body or on the patient's body. Wearable devices like virtual reality, we use a wearable device like a camera with the audio system, and certain virtual reality applications and artificial intelligence devices like the robotic devices. So digital therapeutics goes beyond mere wellness apps that people can download to help with coping, stress management, losing weight, meditation, etc. So it is not only talking about the wellness app, it is talking more about the patient's treatment itself. So the digital therapeutics help support self-managing the symptoms, thereby improving the quality of life and other clinical endpoints. So digital therapeutic uses digital implements like mobile devices, apps, sensors, the Internet of Things, and other tools which spur the behavioral changes in the patient. So if you look at this presentation here, just a moment, you can see there is mobile health, wearable sensors, like you're wearing a watch in order to assess your heart rate, a smartwatch, electronic health record, where it is most commonly used in hospitals and clinics, the telehealth, which became very popular during the COVID times in order to contact a doctor for treatment, the precision medicine, which is a personalized medicine or a personalized nursing care to patients, depending on because each individual is unique. And so depending on their personality, on their physical condition, whether this patient has other chronic conditions or he is fully healthy, the big data, the data which we collect from the patient through the digital therapeutics. And then we have the hospital at home, like, the medications which may be available for the patient at home, or the therapies which may be available online for the patient at home, and the decision support algorithms. These also these all come under the digital therapeutics. Now, this is one of the innovative areas where digital therapeutic ecosystem has experienced an accelerated period of progress over the past 2 years, because it tailors the needs of the patient. Now, when we look at the digital therapeutic, we should not get confused with that. We have to have a clear idea what is this digital therapeutic. How is it different from digital health and digital medicine? So in a digital health, as you all know, there is wellness apps in digital health. Like, for example, telehealth, as I told you, and some of the weight reducing apps like Noom, if you're aware about it. Excuse me. Just a moment. All technologies used for health related purpose in this digital health, there is no need for clinical evidence or regulations needed. There is no laws which are governing it. Anybody can use it. It is available on Facebook everywhere. Like, for example, I think you also have some of the apps. If you just scroll through the Facebook, if you are accessing these apps, there will be more advertisements to access. Like, one of the examples I told you is Noom. Digital medicine, like product used to measure or intervene the healthcare. Like now, this is like, you are using a smartwatch. Now I have seen a smartwatch which can also, without pricking, it can tell you the blood glucose level. Now this is a wearable sensor that transmits data to the healthcare providers. This is very, very, it's like a boon for the diabetic patients. So it must have clinical evidence, like there is a clinical trial which is run, and then it has been found to be effective, and then it comes into use for the by the public after the trial. The digital therapeutics now is products which are used to prevent, treat, and manage the disease, and must have a clinical evidence and also should have a regulatory clearance. That means There are many organizations which provide regulatory clearance. Like as of now, US is having FDA as a US FDA as a approved, which is the one organization which gives approval for the cognitive behavioral therapy apps. Okay, so this is one of the main difference between digital health, medicine, and digital therapeutics. Now, just in this chart, you can see that how it is related to one another. What are the type of products, as I discussed with you, how the clinical evidence is not required in digital health, but it is required in digital medicine and digital therapeutics. There is regulatory oversight, which is very, very essential in case of digital therapeutics, and the examples of different programs as I discussed with you. So now digital therapeutics is used as a standalone therapy. Sometimes only it is used as one therapy, or it is used in conjunction with more conventional treatments like pharmacological therapy. For example, let us take a patient who is suffering from severe anxiety. Now, this patient will also get medication for anxiety along with cognitive behavior therapy, which is in the form of digital therapeutics. So also it will be with certain hardware or sensory or mechanical devices. The treatment depends on the collection and the processing of the digital measurements, because the digital nature of the methodology, data can be collected and analyzed as both progress report and as a preventative measure. Like for example, in case of a diabetic patient, the diabetic patient will have his height and weight measured. So then he will know how obese is he. So, and then next, his blood glucose will be monitored. His urine sugar also will be monitored. He will be also monitored for his lifestyle. So all these will be assessed, and then it will be taken into account for the further treatment. Currently, there are treatments being developed for the prevention and the management of a wide variety of disease conditions like Alzheimer's, anxiety, depression, attention deficit hyperactivity disorder, cognitive impairment, which can occur because of head injuries or even because of schizophrenia, and substance use disorders like opioid, alcohol, and trauma. Like for example, concussion in case of head injuries, following that cognitive behavior therapy, type 2 diabetes, like congestive heart failure, irritable bowel syndrome, which is stress related, and the pain disorders. These are all the areas where digital therapeutics is taking into form too. Now, there are different products which come into the digital health ecosystem, which serve different but complementary purposes. So depending on each product and how it is being used and the risk it is subject to increasing degrees of clinical evaluation, regulatory oversight, and real-world data requirements. So let us look at different entities. So the first one is the enterprise system and the support. The platforms for healthcare system and other enterprise settings. So here mainly it gives the there is like clinical administration and management tools, predictive analytics, and clinical trial management. In case of clinical service, clinician, the services and support, the platforms primarily it is used by the physicians for clinical support like health information, electronic medical record, prescribing systems, point of care, that is the workflow algorithms, and the telehealth platforms. In patient facing, we have three different type of digital therapeutics. The first one is wellness and support. So as I told you, the lifestyle and wellness apps, activity and fitness trackers, medication reminder. It's easy for the patient to remember their medication to be taken on time, wearables and sensors, which are non-clinical grade, and consumer health information, like all they have to know about their, how this digital therapeutics is given to the patient. Patient facing, the diagnostic and monitoring, in that we have digital diagnostics, mainly to monitor the patients, digital biomarkers, like for example, cancer biomarkers, which are under clinical trial yet, remote patient monitoring tools when the patient is not with the doctor, but doctor has a connection with the system, digital therapeutic system, in order to track the patient's exercise schedule or diet schedule, like for example, a diabetic patient. Or when you look at patients with sleep problems, the doctor is able to monitor the sleep through this digital therapeutic platform, through having an access to the sleep diary. So medication ingestible sensors, connected drug delivery devices, all these comes under the diagnostic and monitoring. When you look at the therapeutic interventions, mainly the clinical interventions which are directly given to the patient via the software. So now I will be sharing with you one of the through the YouTube, you can see a video which will show how a child will access this digital therapeutic device in order to reduce his hyperactivity, and this is without any medication. So if medication is needed, that will be given by the doctor. Okay. So when we look at the digital therapeutics is mainly used more in the field of psychiatry, that is the mental health. The next coming field is the cardiovascular conditions. The third one is the addiction. Then we have the endocrine conditions like diabetes. And fourth, we have the neurological, like this it goes. So the topmost where the digital therapeutics is used in the health field is the field of mental health. So let us see some of the software which is used for as digital therapeutics in mental health. The first software is the Reset and the Reset-O. Now Reset is used for substance abuse disorder. Now what this Reset does, when a patient registers in Reset, the Reset is an app which is available on Amazon or the Play Store or whatever. When the patient just enters, the patient will be asked a lot of questions and they will be registered. Once the patient registers, so this is done with the help of the psychiatrist to whom the patient registers. So once the patient is registered, the patient is able to be tracked for their craving and their lifestyle. Whenever they just went back or resumed drinking, and that also will be recorded. So every time, the whole 24 hours, the patient is monitored for the any kind of withdrawal symptoms, everything is being monitored. So whenever patient needs a medication, patient comes in person to the doctor to take the medication. For example, naloxone or whatever to be taken according to the patient's condition, patient has to meet with the doctor. Sometimes this is also available for the patient without meeting the doctor also, depending on the area from where. So there is no specific main thing which happens in the digital therapeutics is there is no need for the patient to come in contact with the doctor daily or on the follow-up basis. So it can be done through the digital therapeutic platform or the environment. The Reset-O is a specific app, which is software, which is used for opioid use disorder. Now, Sleepio and Somerset are the softwares which are used for chronic insomnia. Endeavor RX is a software which is used for children with attention deficit hyperactivity disorder. So you can just view this, when I just finished this, you can view this video where you can see how the child plays a game. Through a game, the child will be completing levels and getting rewards. So every time the child completes a level, he becomes better in his attention. So he is able to sit in one place and he comes down in his hyperactivity. This is how the app works. Okay, so with rewards, so it is all like virtual rewards, but sometimes in Reset, there are also rewards which are given, not only virtual, like a patient gets a real reward also from the app. Like for example, a patient gets a dining in a restaurant or like this. So SAM MDs and MMAs, These are like, these are the softwares for mild cognitive impairment, schizophrenia, autism, depression, etc. So there are two practical examples as I discussed with you. One is the Reset-O and the Sleepio. So the digital application of cognitive behavior therapy, it shows, you can see the pictures, you can also access on the Google and you can go through it. There is videos which are available. There is websites you can go and visit. So in this website, you have different applications like blogs. Even the person who's treating has a lot of information. The patient also has a lot of information. Patient can also access to different kind of therapies, so which show promising results in the treatment of depression and anxiety disorders. So CBT is also showing rapid diversification in other areas like substance use disorders, and similar products for the treatment of schizophrenia and insomnia are also under development. So an online self-care program is based for CBT. On CBT for insomnia has shown improvement. So mainly when you take insomnia treatments, it focuses on the negative thoughts, what are the things that you have in your bedroom, how you can arrange it. It can also talk about the other things like how the person's lifestyle is with regard to what is the screen time that he uses. So all this will be taken into account while treating the sleep disorder. So Mukherjee and Joyce, referring to the findings of clinical trials, showed abstinence in 40% of the patients using the digital therapeutic application for about 3 months, compared to which was only 17.6% in placebo or standard therapy. The standard therapy, the traditional therapy, which is given as to treat the patients who are coming with for de-addiction. So when this particular digital therapeutics was used, there was a leap in the improvement shown by the patient, or the patient was abstinent. 40% of the patients were abstinent compared to the 17.6%, which is like double in case of digital therapeutics. So definitely this digital therapeutics is very, very useful in order to help the patient to recover from the addiction. So here also you have like various applications and Reset-O. We have like substance use, as I told you, it tracks the substance use, cravings, and the triggers. Even the patient's relationship with the colleagues, with the family. Also, there are a few questions which the patient has to answer as a part of the Reset-O. There is another software called Abilify MySight, which is also used for medication adherence. So this is like ingestible in sensors. The patient just takes it like a pill and it goes into the body. Once it is inside the body, it starts tracking or gives information to the patient on which is the correct time to take the medication. So especially if you see in the mentally ill patients will miss medication. Non-compliance is a very, very common phenomenon in mentally ill patients. So when this particular digital therapeutics is used, it reminds the patient to take medication through, lights, vibrations, sensors within the body. So Dr. Bhaskar, can I have the video played? I can stop sharing and you can play the video.
Imagine a medicine made up of pixels and play. Created with cognitive science and proven in clinical studies. A video game.
That's what I'm talking about.
That invites your child to discover new worlds.
You did it! Nice!
Build their universe. Capture mystic creatures. Boost past challenges.
Oh yeah!
All to create positive change. Introducing Endeavor RX, the first prescription ADHD therapy
Look at us, rocking it again.
delivered through a video game experience. Designed to work alongside your treatment plan
Hey, whoa! You were all round, and I was all woot. Awesome.
and proven to improve attention.
This video, I think it gave you an idea about digital therapeutics, how it is being used for a ADHD kid in the form of a game. So how interesting it is for the child instead of, giving a face-to-face counseling, because now children, they enjoy game. So through a game, you just get the child to sit in one place and improve his attention, thereby reducing the problem of ADHD. Sometimes even without medication, this works very well. So digital therapeutics is also incorporating VR technology owing to recent advancements and the cost which is falling, and it has shown significant use in the patients with post-traumatic stress disorder, where, like, for example, patients who are affected by tsunamis, earthquakes, or any kind of crisis stage, like a rape or a kind of a natural disaster or a death in the family. So when they end up in a post-traumatic stress disorder, this therapy, which uses the virtual reality to bring the patient to the real-time situation, whereby patient gets oriented to reality and thereby reduces his stress and comes back to normal. So studies to assess its potential application is also being done in the areas of depression, anxiety, phobias, obsessive compulsive disorders, addiction, psychosis, etc. The VR technology in digital therapeutics applies simulation to enable people to learn experiencing real world situations. So one of the studies that is Game Change VR, which is especially used for patients with the PTSD, as I told you, you can just go and Google it and you can watch. So the Center for Disease Control in US also has approved lifestyle change programs, especially for conditions like diabetes and cardiovascular conditions, where patients, they get into activity, fitness, thereby the assessment is being tracked. So digital therapeutic companies offers behavioral intervention for diabetes using a social network, like a year-long educational curriculum, personalized health coaching, and support through small peer groups. So not only coaching and tracking, after the therapy, also it gives like a connection of these people with the support groups where they can sustain their lifestyle. So this program also uses the connective devices to track people's nutrition, activity, and weight by using tools like hardware and software, and by human coaching over a long period of time. So this is one of the promising this, but there should be some legal aspects in order to, just a moment. There should be some legal aspects in order to regulate these digital therapeutics, as I told you, because it involves, like, for example, when we are sharing data on our smartphones, we don't know how safe it is, how secure it is. Now, all the data, for example, you're tracking a patient's sleep. So where the patient is sleeping, what kind of sleep he has, what are the activities before the sleep and after the sleep. So all the data is being, the privacy is intruded, and this data is being taken by the physician and the treatment team. So there should be a regulation for the digital therapeutics in general. So the European Union has a regulation on the clinical investigation and sale of medical devices for human use. So we have this EU 2017, but it only regulates the sale and the clinical investigation and the sale of medical device. Whereas Germany is the first country which has DIGA, that is New German Digital Healthcare Act, which has specific requirements for the use of digital therapeutics. It has a list of requirements which defines the features of digital therapeutic applications and important factors like quality, security, data protection. All this must be proven with scientific evaluation. Only after the clinical trial, it can come to the market. Before being tested, it has to get a consent from the patient, and all the whatever the regulations are there, it has to be explained to the patient before the device is sold to the patient. So where the patient also has the right for claim. Okay, like in case of we have health insurance, like that also the patient can claim when using this digital therapeutics. Now France is also moving towards creating such an act, and as I told you, US already has a FDA as its approving body, and just a moment. So this is the process or the framework of digital therapeutics when it has to be approved by the US FDA. So first of all, it will be asking whether it is a mobile medical app. And then if it is no, then the apps are not intended to diagnose, cure, or to treat or prevent disease. It is not a medical device. So if it is yes, then there is enforcement discretion. And then again, if it is an S from there, then we ask whether it is a coaching or a wellness app or a provider, patient to provider communication or routine calculators. What is it? What kind of device it is? So now what is the device class? So we saw various device classes. So under that, it will be registered as class 1 or class 2 or class 3. So depending on which the approval will be given for the digital therapeutic application. Now, what is the advantages of digital therapeutic application? It has improved primary care. So there is no need for the patient. So you can see that there are a lot of patients who cannot reach to the tertiary hospital for care. Especially if you take mental health, people are, they are hesitant to come forward to take treatment for mental health. They are having a lot of problems, but due to stigma, due to inaccessible healthcare services, affordability, it is very costly. Like if you take in Bahrain, for one session of CBT, you have to spend about 40 BD, which is like 8,000 rupees. You have to spend for one session of CBT. So which is not possible. When it is through a digital therapeutic platform, it is more affordable, accessible for the patient. To modify the lifestyle of the patient. So like there are patients who are not much educated about the mental health concepts. So when they are given this opportunity to access through their phone, they have a better lifestyle. So whenever they are facing a stress, they do a mindful meditation and then they come out of the stress. So whenever they are obese, they can track that they are obese. They know how to become fit through the digital therapeutic platform. Thereby, they don't go into the disease. So the disease is prevented or the complications are prevented because of the disease. So monitor for medication adherence, as I told you, which is also through the digital therapeutic platform. Personalized therapy, because to monitor the outcomes in conditions like depression and anxiety, because each individual is unique. The therapy which is given to the individual is more personalized. Access on the phone. So as the digital therapeutic can be accessed on the phone, tablet, computer. It can be delivered by a psychologist, a social worker, a nurse, a mental health nurse, or a psychiatrist. So through anybody, they can access and avoid. It avoids the patients or the parents to wait for therapy sessions for weeks and for months. Sometimes they go to a very famous hospital, and but they get an appointment after 3 months. So until this 3 months, what the patient will be doing, how the patient is going to cope up with the stress or with the anxiety or whatever. So this, it reduces the waiting of the patient and gives immediate therapy for the patient. And it has remote access also. So there are lots of studies like randomized control studies and meta-analysis, which provides evidences for digital therapeutics are effective in person's therapy. And we have seen that it is found to be very appropriate, and it helps to monitor the patient progress. So if you see the chat box, which offers the real-time interaction and services available 5 days in a week, and the patient can take his treatment. So if you go through these apps like Sleepio and all, you can just see that for example, you are inquiring in you are taking an appointment in a hospital. So immediately when you log in to that website, it will be asking for your name. It will be collecting some details, and then it will be directing you to that particular specialized doctor for service. So, it is also a part of the digital therapeutic platform. So it provides tracking, asynchronous message to the patient by the provider. It provides brief phone calls, personal face-to-face interaction, and it helps to keep the provider in connection with the patient. So the main challenges with the digital therapeutics is about the safety and for the collaboration among the stakeholders, and for the regulatory approval. So if you look at the safety, as I told you, when there should be some kind of regulation which regulates the digital therapeutics. Otherwise, there will be, a breach of data will be there. The data security is a main issue, and no positive impacts upon data protection have been identified until now. All of it is still under the research. If you look at in India, in US, we have some apps like I showed you, the Endeavor, Oryx and all. UK also we have. In the Western countries, it is becoming now more popular because the pharma industry has invested so much $1 billion into it. Whereas in India, it's still growing, and it comes under, it is in a very preliminary stage, I can say you. Just let me show you I'll come to that later. So there is mainly the challenges involved are constant observation and profiling of the patient. So there is a lot of data which comes to the doctor or to the nurse. So they have to handle this data, and they have to use it effectively to treat the patient instead of just storing the data. So high impact of personal data breaches is possible. Complexity, it may generate security flaws, and the cost of service also is so if you see, it may vary from $500 to $1,500. Sometimes it can be like, if it can be given in a subsidized rate, where the internet and the other services are more accessible to patient, then it is like our Ayush in India. It can be connected with that, and it can be given to the patients. Regular monitoring, measurement and feedback through connected medical devices. When patient grant access to their vital statistics, insurance companies, caregivers and employers can reward them for progress in stabilizing and improving chronic conditions. So personalized coaching and support for the patient and for the care and for the doctors and nurses who are treating the patient. And gamified behavioral modification by providing digital therapeutic solutions also can through incentives to track and drive the adherence to prescribed diet, lifestyle practice also can be more promising. So this can be some of the successful digital therapeutic practices. So if you see, the healthcare companies can meet the desire for integration of these digital health malls, which includes prescribed medication, health supplements, wellness products, diagnostic tests, all in a click of a button. So digital education material can give patients and the family members more information about the disease condition, treatment options, diet, and healthy lifestyle choices. So advanced data algorithms also, it will help to predict and prevent the health events like any kind of complication in the patient. So if we look at this Ayushman Bharat Health Account, okay. So it's a digital health account which is powered by Ayushman Bharat Digital Mission that allows you to organize, access, and share medical records without any hassle. So in India, this is the digital therapeutic platform which is growing. So here mainly we have the electronic health record. So this health record is connected if the patient is in Chennai or the patient goes to Delhi also, the doctor in Delhi will have all the information about the patient to connect it through Ayushman Bharat health account. So this is the benefit of the Ayushman Bharat digital mission. So it is just growing, and it never lets to waste time for medical records, because always we keep searching, or the patient has to bring the medical record with them. Most of the time they lose the papers. So it ends the need to carry a physical file. It keeps all the health information safe and secure, and it generates a token fast track OPD counter. So immediately, when you register online, it gives you access to the proper health service. So when we look at the role of nurse, what is the role of nurse in digital therapeutics? Actually, one particular stream of nurses have a major role to play. The nurses who are having specialization in nursing informatics. So I heard just a few minutes back that this has been added to the BSc nursing syllabus, and I'm sure it will give a lot of input for the nursing students who are studying now in the current syllabus, to have more information how these kind of digital therapeutics can be used, how they can be a patient advocate, and how it can be used effectively. So nurses need to consider many factors when recommending the digital therapeutics. One is the cost of the intervention, the conflict of interest, whether it is the best the therapeutics environment for the patient, meeting the needs of the patient. Does it cater to the needs of the patient? And data security and privacy, and maintaining the ethical principles, especially the non-malfeasance and beneficence for the patient, can be highly challenging and problematic, because as I told you, the data breach is very, very common, particularly where models of digital therapeutic services are underdeveloped. So when it is well developed, you don't have much problem implementing it. So it has to have a proper clinical trial. It has to have a proper kind of regulatory authority in order to monitor the services which are given to the patient. So lack of remuneration to the provider and the patients may not receive adequate follow-up or monitoring. So here in this case, actually the company is the one producing this digital therapeutics. Now, what is the role of a physician or a nurse? Now, the physician or the nurse has to be acknowledged for their service. If it is not done, again, digital therapeutics will not be effective. So the client, the nurse, and the doctor, they have to be acknowledged or given proper remuneration in order for the digital therapeutics to boom. And increasingly, patients and caregivers are seeking advice for recommendations of digital healthcare services, devices, and products. And the future of nursing force, they should have skills in quality appraisal and prescription of these services. So for us as a nurse to be more effective in a part of digital therapeutics, we should be aware about it. We should know completely about that product, okay, before we are involved in the use of digital therapeutics. Like, we should not only be a functional nurse. We have to be a knowledgeable and a skillful nurse with being a good patient advocate. We have to be aware about the devices available. We have to educate the patients or the consumers how to use it, and demonstrate the effectiveness of the devices. So I have some of the digital technologies and examples of its benefit and the challenges and the future implications. So if you look at the big data or the artificial intelligence, like we have some of the robots, it's used in decision support systems to improve the identification of infection, like in case of COVID pandemic. Like in case of what is the challenges which are here, that is like techniques are complex and may unintentionally reduce the nursing involvement in the development of these systems. So it can bring down the number of nurses required in this area. When artificial intelligence takes into play, it can reduce the number of nurses required, and ethics and accountability of the decisions of these systems include transparency and privacy concerns. The future implications of AI is because the speaker, Dr. Gopal Krishnan, will be speaking more about the AI. So the AI-based nursing in acute and primary care needs research, and policies need professional accountability, and educational leadership competencies are required. So especially the nurse has to be more knowledgeable about the AI, have to have special degrees and more knowledge about the AI when this is being used for the patients. The automation technologies like robotics and drones, the robots can support people with cognitive, sensory, and motor impairments, especially in the area of neurology, where they may be ill or injured through head injury or whatever. The challenges will be the technologists and researchers providers and users must collaborate to ensure success. So if there is a robot which is being created, a nurse is involved, a doctor is involved, engineer, AI engineer is involved, the other technology people who are there also come into collaboration. So the emerging innovations coupling AI with robotics will have intended and unintended changes to nursing practice in the coming era. There are assistive living technologies like smartphones. So you are all aware about Alexa, is it not? So we use Alexa to switch on the fan, to put off the TV, like this. So motion monitoring system in homes can help tailor care decisions for older adults, especially with the dementia. And privacy implications, there is variety and turnover of different technologies, which are suitable devices challenging, and technical and expense, it can be expensive. So that is the only problem. And nurses should be involved in the design and development and the implementation of the systems. Because why this point is very important is, recently I had a simulation workshop for the Liardel mannequin. So nowadays our education is more of simulation, is it not? So when there was a demonstration of how to use this mannequin, there is a nurse who is in the team, along with the pharmacist who belong to the company who are manufacturing the device. There is a nurse who demonstrates how to use it in the simulation. She gives us the tips or how to connect it to the smartphone and bring out the data of the students who are kind of doing the exams. So there is a nurse who is involved. So the nurse is a very important person when these kind of devices are being manufactured. Clinical decision support systems, these support systems detect infectious disease and trigger appropriate actions, like in case of COVID pandemic. Over alerting clinicians results in alert fatigue, because it keeps on giving, alarm to the clinicians, which can create a work load or burnout on the healthcare professionals. Nurses should be involved in the design and development and implementation of such kind of systems. Electronic health record, I will not go in detail because we have already seen enough of it. Mainly it involves the nursing documentation is superior to the paper-based records, which is more effective and being used. Now moving on to mobile health, as you all know, also there is a lot of mobile health apps which are used to coach patients via applications to improve short-term outcomes like weight reduction, fitness, then monitoring the heart rate, sticking to the lifestyle changes. So perceived lack of affordability and reliability of mobile applications are more costly. Then it will not be affordable, can be a problem. So the need to develop policies and professional culture that supports the use of mobile devices. So you can see there is a lot of nurse researchers who have created a lot of mobile apps for different conditions. Now this has to get patent and it has to come into the society to help the patients. So that is more important. The research should not be only in the paper and the book. It has to come into implementation. Telehealth and telemedicine, if you see, it is very common, like for distant nursing care or the medical care. So beneficial in nursing homes during especially like COVID pandemic, when the patients cannot meet the doctors, and nurses' technical skill and negative attitude towards telemedicine can be a barrier. So we need to be more positive towards the change also. So the privacy and confidentiality also can be an issue. Nurses should support to co-design the telehealth systems and emerging virtual models for patient care. Now, precision healthcare is very, very new, and it is emerging. Precision means the care which is tailored for individual patients. Okay. So when we say there is a patient with the MI, you will be drawing a care plan which is similar to all MI patients. No. But when we write a care plan now, we individualize the care plan according to the patient. So there is a patient with comorbid conditions, there is a patient without comorbid conditions. So both will have different care. So that is called individualized personal care or precision care. And pace of technological change and equity issues related to technology access could undermine precision health developments, and nurses should advocate for the patients and for the families to have equitable access to the health data for using precision healthcare. Now, moving on, we know the social media, how we use it, the diverse pools of health information, facilitating nursing process. So quality and reliability. We have hundreds of apps on the social media, which is good, which is bad. We have to know which is risky, which is unsafe. So nurses should be educated about the proper use of social media and online health information and support patient use. I had students like during the COVID, I had a group of students, enthusiastic nursing students, who posted useful information about how to prevent COVID. They posted it on Instagram. See how the students used it for a good cause. So this is a very good example of how to use social media appropriately. Rather than, you dance or you laugh and then you post it on the Instagram, it is not going to be professional. But when you share information, like for example, today's webinar, the digital therapeutics, if you are going to share it with your colleague and you are going to collaborate, write a paper, or put information about this on the Instagram, and many people or nursing students and nursing faculty come to know about it, the social media is used appropriately. So virtual and augmented reality, now this is used mostly for education purpose, but in digital therapeutics, it is used for other purposes. Yes, I have been given the red signal for time. So I will try to wind up very quickly. So nurses have role in practice, administration, education, research, and as entrepreneurs in digital therapeutics. So as I have already discussed with you regarding all this. So mainly the nursing students, they have to be given the simulation education as a part of their curriculum. And also nursing informatics is going to add them to become more strengthened with their knowledge towards the digital therapeutics. And it has to come into practice in administration. And so with this, I would like to end with the story of Kim. So, Kim is a staff nurse. Kim is a nurse educator. She's also a clinical system analyst in a hospital. So she uses technology. What are the technologies? Electronic medical records, barcoding, barcoded medication administration. So already we are using digital therapeutics in the form of nursing care already, as I have shown here. So we have to have a range of healthcare challenges emerging that thwart the challenges in healthcare. It is essential to map their requirements and preferences of their consumers, and based on that, we create an implementation approach which is for the digital therapeutics. So it's an emerging specialty, and nurses should develop knowledge and competencies in this field to survive. So these are my references. And please, I would like to end saying, thanks to the digital therapeutics, but use it with caution as you proceed, as no nurse will be replaced for her empathy. With this few words, thank you for giving me this opportunity once again to be here to share the knowledge with you. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am.
Good morning, ma'am. Thank you so much for your spending your valuable time with us, ma'am. I'm glad to express my feedback on behalf of PhD College of Nursing students. This session was really helpful and most informative seminar I have ever attended. And we are now very confident and clear about the topic, and especially about the digital therapeutics and the challenges and the role of nurses in this digital therapeutics. And many thanks again for incredibly valuable information, engaging teaching style, and insights of your ma'am. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much.
Thank you, ma'am. It gives me an immense pleasure to introduce another today's speaker. Dr. S. Gopalakrishnan has been a senior biomedical engineering professor at PhD College of Technology since 2008. He received his doctoral degree in Information and Communication Engineering from Anna University, Chennai. He also obtained IBM professional certification on data science. He is a life member of Biomedical Engineering Society of India and expert for several professional boards. He is very passionate about applying artificial intelligence to revolutionize medical practice and actively involved in research and development of AI-based healthcare applications. He has national and international publication in the area of computer-aided diagnosis of lung disease, deep learning-based rehabilitation monitoring and assessment, neurodegenerative disease classifications, COVID-19 detections, and brain tumor segmentation. I wish you a productive and enjoyable guest lecture. Now I welcome Dr. S. Gopalakrishnan to start the session on intersection of artificial intelligence and mental health, challenges and opportunities.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir.
First of all, I would like to thank Professor Dr. A. Jayasudha, Principal, PSC College of Nursing, and Professor Dr. Bhaskaran M., Department of Mental Health Nursing, PSC College of Nursing, Coimbatore, for giving me this opportunity to share some of my research interests with you today. First, let's start with the definition of artificial intelligence. Before starting the session, I would like to hear from you. So do you know what is nowadays this AI or artificial intelligence become a very fancy word? I would like to know what is your level of understanding about this fancy word AI. I hope the students can communicate, they can participate, right, sir? They can interact with me.
Yes, sir. But students are muted, sir, and they can chat.
Okay, no problem. No, yes, sir. No problem, sir.
Yes.
Yeah, no
You
problem.
may chat. What is the meaning of AI? Yes. Students are dignitaries.
Any idea about this term AI? So what is AI?
One of the participants mentioned as a digital version of human brain.
Yeah, it is. It is a very near correct answer. AI is a digital version of human brain.
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
Another person mentioned as artificial intelligence.
Artificial intelligence. Yeah. Yeah, it is near correct. And to my point of view, AI is nothing but making the machine intelligent, right? So we have to make the machine intelligent and think like a human. We will come to the see the more formal definition of AI. So this is the basic that is outline of my presentation. That is, let's see the introduction, history of AI, types and branches in AI, and the applications of AI in healthcare and applications of AI in mental health, challenges and opportunities. This is the overview of my presentation. And coming to the definition of AI, so AI is the capability of a computer system to mimic the human cognitive function, such as learning and problem solving. Through AI, a computer system uses math and logic to simulate the reasoning that people use to learn from new information and make decisions. So if you take, that is, if let us consider the machine, we are going to make the machine that mimic the human intelligence. Say, for example, we have we know how to drive a car, right? And because of we learn this particular intelligence by practicing. Only we can learn this, right? So it is very tough to make the machine to mimic this particular intelligent activity, right? Only through this artificial intelligence, it is possible. Okay. And another important definition is AI is the process of building an intelligent machine from vast volume of data. So we learned all these things only by practice, isn't it? So we need a platform to practice everything, right? So similarly for machine intelligence, we need a vast amount of data. So as like human being, we learned by experience, the machine learned by example, right? Say, let us consider a radiologist. The radiologist can read the chest CT or X-ray, and he can come up with some observations. Say, this, in this particular slice, there is a nodule. It may be a benign or it may be a malignant. So he tells this observation, this thing only by his knowledge or experience. So it is possible to define or develop a AI-based system to mimic this particular human intelligence. For that, we need to teach the computer to do so. So for that, we need a vast amount of chest X-ray or chest CT. So this is what we call artificial intelligence. Is nothing but we are going to make the machine to mimic the human cognitive process. And there are two major approaches in this area, artificial intelligence. The first is rule-based approach. In this rule-based approach, it uses algorithm, right? So algorithm is nothing but a sequence of unambiguous instruction. So I hope you know what is a computer program, right? So the computer can take one instruction at a time. It will go through instruction line by line and execute the process. Similarly, this rule-based AI system get the human expert. Say from, let us consider the previous example, let us consider a expert radiologist. So if you want to develop an AI system for radiological application, the very first step is we have to get that expertise from the radiologist. So we should closely sit with the radiologist and we have to ask the radiologist how you are interpreting the CT or interpreting the chest X-ray. Okay, so we have to get that knowledge first, then we have to transform this human expert knowledge into a knowledge data. So this translation is done by a person called knowledge engineer. Say for example, you have to ask the radiologist, say you are saying that this particular slice, this particular that is yeah, small round like thing is you are telling it is a lesion. So how you are telling this? So we should ask the person and transform these things. Say if the lesion is like a blob or if it is a round like thing, then we have to infer that this blob like thing is a lesion. Then we go to measure the dimension of this lesion. Then we should also look at some other important property of this lesion, say the textural property or the dimension. And we go to transform all this knowledge. Then it is stored in a knowledge base. Then once this rule-based AI system is ready, then user, and he may not be an expert, can use this AI system for interpreting the radiological data or radiological CT or X-ray. So simply the person can interact with this knowledge system or knowledge base. Then this knowledge base already stored this knowledge data or knowledge base. Then it gives the result. So this kind of approach is called rule-based approach. In rule-based approach, we have to develop a computer algorithm, nothing but sequence of unambiguous program or instruction. And the second major approach in this field AI is example-based approach. In example-based approach, say for example, we are learning to differentiate between cat and dog, right? So we are showing the children that this is the cat, but if you look at the cat, there are many breeds in the cat and also in the dog. Say we have a Pomeranian dog and a German Shepherd and a lot of varieties and a lot of dimension also. If you take some other dog, it is very smaller, and if you take another variety breed, it is very tall, and there is a large difference in this particular category also. And we are teaching the child that this is a cat and this is a dog. So by showing this example, after the child learns, if he or she look at a dog which he or he not previously seen, is capable of classifying it as a dog or cat. So this is how we learned, right? So this category is called learn by example. And coming to the history of artificial intelligence, so this artificial intelligence is not a new technology. Actually, it was started in the early 1940s or 1950s. And one of the important evolution in this area is the introduction of artificial neuron by McCullough and Bit in 1943. They invented the first artificial neuron which mimicked the biological neuron. And we know that we learned certain intelligence by experience. And if you look at the neural connectivity of children before learning new things or new activity, the connection strength between the neuron is somewhat, say, it is with some state or some level, say level 1. After learning, right? So there is a adjustment of synaptic strength between the neurons. So this is how the neural connection is strengthened, or we are learning, and this learning is adapted in our biological neuron. In a much similar way, these two scientists, McCullough and Bits, come up with the idea of creating an artificial neuron. And after that, there is a scientist called Hebbian, and he discovered the method of updating the weight in the artificial neuron. So this artificial neuron is the starting point of this revolutionary technique, AI. And this mimics the biological neuron. So in 1950s, Turing designed an algorithm or methodology to test whether the particular machine has intelligence or not. So for that, we go to take two entities. One is the machine, and another one is the the expert in that field. Then the person, that is the third person, he have to interact with both the machine as well as expert in that. If he doesn't notice any difference between the expert and the machine, then we can say the machine has some intelligence. So this is another milestone in this artificial intelligence and the method of testing the machine intelligence. And actually the birth of AI was started in the year 1956 here. There is one of the scientists in the Dartmouth conference, they coined this fancy word AI, artificial intelligence, very first in 1956. Then after that in 66, there is an invention of first chatbot called Elisa. So this kind of thing, that is chatbot, is very much useful in patient engagement in case of a healthcare sector, right? So this another advancement in that area. Then in 1972, there is a very first intelligent robot called Wabot 1 is developed. Then in 74 to 80, there is no much advancement happened during this particular period. So by that time, almost all the funding agencies, they stopped the funding, and there is a sleeping time for this particular area, AI, during this period 74 to 80. So in history, they call it as the first AI winter. Then after this, immediately after this first AI winter, this AI field come up with expert system. This expert system mimic our human expert, right? So this expert system can provide suggestions, or they can provide some it is capable of debating with the expert in that field, right? So this kind of things advanced in that that is in 1980. Then again, after this expert system invention, between 87 to 93, There is a sleeping time, that is second, they call it as a second AI winter. Then after that, in 97, IBM come up with a product called IBM Deep Blue. It is a very first computer. It beat the world chess champion, and they won this Deep Blue won the chess champion. And this is another important milestone in AI history. Then in 2002, AI entered into the home. That is, you can easily see that in this picture, there is a small robot. It is a cleaning robot invented in this year. It is based on this AI technology. Then in 2011, IBM Watson was invented, and this IBM Watson is a AI product. It wins the quiz, so it easily defeat the expert in that show. And in 2012, there is an invention of Google Now, and 14, there is a chatbot called Goodsman, that is chatbot Igen Goodsman. It wins the Turing test. And in 2015, there is this AI enter into the business market. That is, there is a product called Amazon Echo, right? And there are many other companies, they started using this AI in the commercial world. Say, for example, Facebook started using this AI, Twitter, and many other companies. Nowadays, there are many products, many commercial products, they use this technology AI. Say, for example, if you take the there is a music app called Spotify, it uses AI technique. And if you take Apple Siri, then Google Assistant, there are many such things. Nowadays we are using AI technology. So this is the brief history of AI. Then coming to the types of AI, and we can classify AI based on capabilities and based on functionalities. Then based on capability, we can classify the AI as narrow AI, general AI, or super AI. So narrow AI means, so the artificial intelligence system is developed for a particular purpose. Say it is capable of classifying different animals, right? Say it is capable of classifying cat from wild animals, or some kind of classification framework. Or let us consider an AI system which is developed to identify the breast cancer from the mammogram image. So it is dedicated for that particular purpose. But if we take a human intelligence, so we are doing multiple things, right? We have multiple intelligence. So this simple or narrow AI, it is also called weak AI. It is dedicated for a particular purpose. And the next category is called general AI. General AI is something like our human being. We have multiple intelligence, right? So this kind of AI is not existing now. There are very few advancement in this general AI. Most of the AI that exists today comes under the first category, narrow AI. And the third category based on the capability is called super AI, super artificial intelligence. And this super AI is still in the theoretical state, right? So this will think like a human, and it has emotions. Say if you consider a robo in the Indian movie, right? So it has a emotion and it has the feelings also. So this kind of AI is not exist today and still under development. And based on the functionalities, based on the capabilities, it is classified as narrow, general AI, or super AI. Based on the function, it is classified as reactive machine, limited memory, theory of mind, and self-awareness. So first, let's see what is reactive machine. Reactive machine means it can react to the particular situation. It doesn't have any memory. Say, for example, we are chatting with the person, right? Say, let us consider a chatbot. It is chatting with the person. right? So the answer is based on the current question, right? So it doesn't store any previous information in the memory. It is called reactive machine, reacting to the current situation, right? So this kind of AI machine doesn't have memory. And the second category based on functionality is called limited memory. So this kind of limited memory uses the past information to answer or to come up with the current situation. So it stores some of the knowledge which was stored in the memory, right? So we call it as limited memory system. So most of the AI that exists today comes under or fall under this category, limited memory. And the third one is the theory of mind, and the last one is the self-awareness. And these two categories are still in theoretical state, and it is something like super AI, which was not exist today. And it is a hypothetical question, right? So it does not exist today. Okay, so these are all the types of AI. Then coming to the different branches of AI technologies. So you may be heard about machine learning, deep learning, and NLP, natural language processing, robotics, and expert system. So AI is a umbrella term, right? AI is a umbrella term. Under this umbrella term, all these things are false, right? So machine learning is a type or branch of AI. Deep learning, NLP is also called natural language processing, robotics, and expert system. These are all the branches of AI, right? AI technology. First, let's see what is the machine learning, right? As the name suggests, machine learning, we are going to make the machine to learn and mimic the human intelligence, right? So this kind of machine learning algorithms, as I mentioned, it is a algorithm, right? So it has a set of programs or set of rules. So this machine learning comes under the rule based. So from the data, it is capable of deriving some logical relation, right? So by showing the data to the machine, say for example, let us consider the AI is a black box, right? We are giving some input to the black box. Say we are inputting 2 to the system and we are getting 4, right? And in the next time we are giving 4 to the machine and we are getting, say if we give 2, we are getting 4. If we give 4, we are getting 8. Then we can easily understand the functionality of this particular machine. So functionality of this or the relation between the input data and the output data. If we feed 2, we are getting 4. 4 means 8. So the relation between the input and output is the output is multiplied by simply the 2, isn't it? So 2 into 2, 4, or 4 into 2, 8. So we can infer the relation between the input and output. So we can develop a logical equation. So this kind of thing is called machine learning. And the second category in this AI technology is called deep learning. As I mentioned, artificial neural network or artificial neuron in the previous slide. So deep learning is a kind of artificial intelligence technique which mimic the human biological neuron, right? As we know how we are learning things, right? We are learning intelligence by means of experience. Similarly, we are going to create an artificial neural network, right? So we have millions of neurons in our brain. Similarly, in this kind of deep learning thing, we are going to have many such artificial neurons. We are going to interconnect them. Then, for learning, we are going to show some examples. Say, for example, we are showing some picture, and this picture is labeled as, say, cat, and we are showing some other picture, and this picture is labeled as dog. Then we are showing thousands of such images, right? Different varieties of, we are going to take different varieties of that is breeds of dog and cat, and we are going to show the machine, this is a cat, this is a cat. We are going to show thousands of such images. Then by this example, as we learn, the machine is also learn and adapt these things by means of changing the connection weight between the neuron as we do, right? So in our biological neuron, there is a changing of synaptic strength between the biological neuron. This is how we are learning and adapting new, or we are acquiring new intelligence. Similarly, in artificial neural network, here the connection strength between the neurons are updated. So there is a updating algorithm concerning with this particular category. So this is called deep learning. So most of the real life problems can be solved by this deep learning. But if you compare the machine learning and deep learning is more complex as compared to machine learning, right? So in case of machine learning, right, if you show the cat image and dog image, we are not giving the raw image or raw signal to the machine learning, right? We have to get the attribute. Say if you take the lesion, right, then we have to get the attribute. In data science we call it as features, right? Say what is the dimension, what is the diameter of a lesion, right? Then what is the that is the lighting characteristics or the texture characteristics of this particular lesion. Then we have many such characteristics or attributes associated with a particular thing, and these attributes are actually used to classify things in machine learning. But instead of extracting this kind of attributes, we are showing the raw signal or raw image to the deep learning, right? So here deep learning machines are capable of processing raw signal and come up with the inference. So naturally it becomes very complex. And the third category in this area is natural language processing. Natural language processing deals with a language and grammar associated with this. Say one of the example of this natural language processing in today is Google Translate, right? It deals with the language. And the fourth category is robotics. See, if you take the modern industry, in the industry 4.0 era, right, the industries are fully automated, isn't it? So if you take a car manufacturing industry, or if you take a food processing industry, right? I hope some of you may watched Food Factory in National Geographic Channel, right? I hope you know how the Lay's chips is manufactured, and starting from the harvesting potato and cleaning the potato, slicing it, then check the quality of each slice, and baking and till packing. There is no involvement of human or human hand, right? Everything is done by the machine, right? So for this process, they are employing thousands of robots, right? So the robotic technology is very important for industrial automation. Here they are using artificial intelligence. And the next one, and the last category in this AI technology, is the expert system. This expert system may make that is, it becomes like a human expert in a particular domain, right? So these are all the AI technologies. Then coming to the application of AI in healthcare. So the application of in AI in healthcare is very vast. It has application in almost all the areas in healthcare. So starting from the radiology department, radiology, and to up to manufacturing of drugs. So it finds application in almost all the fields in healthcare industry, right? So if you take the radiology, right? So as I mentioned, the AI is capable of that is interpreting the radiological images, right? It may be that is from the chest X-ray or chest CT. The AI is capable of interpreting and find whether the lesion is a cancer or a non-cancer. That is, the lesion may be a benign or malignant, right? And similarly, screening is very important, right? So before the onset of symptom, most of the diseases advanced to the that is may reach the advanced level. So for early diagnosis, say for example, screening for breast cancer, right? Screening for lung cancer. So screening of a breast cancer is done by means of employing uh, mass, that is a number of people. So nowadays, mobile mammogram are available for screening breast cancer. So we go to enroll thousands of that is vulnerable people for this screening. Say in some geographical location, there may be a possibility of occurring breast cancer, or if you take the women in the age above 35 to 40, there may be a possibility of developing breast cancer. So we have to find this people, and we have to include them for screening. So for screening such diseases, we need to include that is thousands of people. And if you look at that is the workload of a radiologist involved in this screening, so the radiologist may not be in a position to look through all the images. So there is a possibility of human error in this screening. So there is if we employ AI for screening, so this AI can almost find 80 to 90% of the that is cancerous region present in the radiological images, and help the radiologist to find these areas without missing the cancer. So this is another area of AI, that is screening of particular diseases. And if you take a dermatology, so by taking the simple skin image, we can easily screening for skin cancer. So here AI find that is, if you compare the performance of AI in that is identifying or diagnosing the skin cancer from the skin image, so it outperforms as compared to the expert dermatologist. So they reach accuracy more than 95%. And we can also use AI for disease diagnosis. Say we have electronic health record in our hospitals. So by means of analyzing the electronic health records, we can predict some of the diseases, right? So, but it is not possible by humans, right? If you look at the volume of electronic health record, right, in a hospital IT system, it is in the order of millions, right? So the human, so if I ask the human being to multiply a number 2 by 10 or 2 by 17, so they can easily give the answer. If I ask you to multiply a huge number, say 10,212 multiplied by another 5-digit number, you may not be in a position to come up with the answer immediately. But if I ask the computer to do so, it can immediately come up with the answer, even the number of digits is more than 5 or 6, right? So that is the capability of a machine. So the machines are capable of surfing through a vast amount of data, and they can categorize and interpret the disease from the electronic health record. And it's also find application in manufacturing of drugs. So if we employ the AI for manufacturing of drug, and also the interaction between the drug, right? So the application of AI is surpasses the human, right? So these are some of the applications of AI in healthcare. And now let us go through some of the examples. So let me play the video, right? Here, this AI-based system segment the breast mass, so they call it as nodule, from the mammogram image. And this kind of system do this segmentation 10x faster than the radiologist. So the radiologist have to pick up certain tool, and they have to segment this. Then this, if this nodule is segmented, then it is analyzed further, right? So if we employ AI to help the radiologist, they can do the job 10x faster than the person not using this AI-based system, right? And also there is something called architectural distortion or microcalcification in the breast, right? That develop as a breast cancer in the later stage. So these kind of things are not seen by the naked eye, right? Even some of the expert radiologists may miss this small detail or information present in the mammogram image. So if we employ this AI technique or AI for analysis of mammogram for breast cancer detection, so it will easily give the possible region for microcalcification or architectural distortion. So this is one area in radiology, application of AI in radiology. And another application of that is AI in radiology images, thyroid nodule classification. Actually, this work was done by my student Shalini. She's doing his MS in German now. So here, let us here see, we have taken the database, that is thyroid nodule image. So this particular diagram gives you an idea of how the AI-based diagnostic system works, right? So if you want to develop a AI-based diagnostic system, we have to thorough the input or image signal that we have in our hand, right? So we have consult the expert in this area, that is a radiologist in our hospital. Then we learn how to interpret the thyroid image, right? Then we have to pre-process this image, then we have to enhance this kind of image. Then after this pre-processing stage, we have to extract some important attributes. Say the radiologist tells, see, if you look at this particular region, there may be a round like that is a textural change, right? So we have to ask the radiologist to segment those areas. But if you are a non-technical person and if you haven't seen this kind of image before, you cannot differentiate that region. Only by experience, the radiologist, they are interpreting this kind of images. So we have to get that knowledge first, then we have to transform this knowledge in the form of attribute, right? Then we have to apply some mathematical formulation. Here we are using some kind of transformation. Then we got to extract some high level feature, right? That is, we call it as attribute, right? Then these features here, these features are used to classify whether this particular thyroid image contains benign nodule or malignant nodule, right? So for that, we are not directly giving this thyroid image, ultrasound image. Instead, we are developing or we are extracting certain information from the image, and these informations are available in the form of a data set or available in that is a table, and this is given to the machine learning classifier. As I mentioned, machine learning ML is a kind of AI technique, and this AI technique is capable of classifying the cancer, right? Whether it may be a benign or malignant, and the staging is also possible with the help of this AI, right? So this first row shows the thyroid image, ultrasound image, and the second row shows the segmentation done by the AI system. The segmentation of thyroid nodule marked by AI-based system. And another interesting application of AI is the segmentation and classification of brain tumor from MRI images. One of my student, Muhammad, he developed this system based on deep learning, right? So by using this deep learning technique, he come up with generating a report from the MRI image, right? So for that, they took the MRI image, then it is given to two different category of deep learning technique. And one technique is used for that is segmenting the brain tumor from the brain MRI image. So here this is called it as a segmentation framework. If we give this raw data image to the system is capable of segmenting this tumor region, and from this tumor region we can get some gross details about the tumor. And another framework that runs parallelly is the classification framework. And this classification framework classifies the disease, right? So whether this may be a meningioma tumor or some type of tumor, right? So combining these two informations, then finally we can generate the report just like the radiologists do. So here we have achieved accuracy of around 97, but we cannot say we can easily transform this to the hospital, because these kind of systems were developed with a limited amount of data, right? So if you want to put this kind of AI system into practice, we have to take a large amount of data from different geographical regions. Say we have to get data from Coimbatore, Erode, Tamil Nadu, in our other states, neighboring state and Delhi. Then we have to collect some data from international hospitals also. Then we have to validate this system with this huge amount of data, and we have to look at its performance, right? Then only we can go for FDA approval for clinical use. And this is one of my PhD work. Here I use this AI technique to segment the lung volume from the lung CT image, right? I consulted Professor Elango from radiological department. He helped me a lot in reading the lung CT, and that is interpreting the lung nodule. If you, I hope you may have seen lung CT. See, if you look at the lung CT, say lung axial CT, right? There are some air sacs and blood vessels, right? If you look at the slice, and let us consider there are some tumor also. So if you do slice, say let us take the lungs in this axis, then we are slicing in this axial direction. And if you take one slice and look at in a 2D, both the blood vessel, air vessels, right, blood vessels and the tumor look like a circle in the two-dimensional image, and one cannot easily tell whether this is the vessel, blood vessel, or the tumor. And there are some tumors, and these tumors may be embedded with the rib cage. So reading a chest X-ray or chest CT is really challenging. And imparting all this knowledge to AI system is another that is a difficult task for the data engineer and machine learning engineer, right? I developed a system to segment only the lung parenchyma from the lung CT, slice by slice, and I have stacked it together to form the lung volume. There are a number of applications of getting the lung volume or lung volume study, and the same framework can be used for identifying the lung cancer from chest radiographic image. And another milestone in the healthcare application of AI is applications of AI in mental health. First, let us have a look at the mental health statistics. According to World Health Organization, there has been a 13% rise in mental health conditions and the substance use disorders in the last decade, right? So year by year, the number of mental health issues are increasing, and around 20% of the world's children and adolescents have mental health condition, with suicide the second leading cause of death among 15 to 29 years old. And in India, who estimates around 2,443 disability adjusted life years, that is the people living with the disease, per 10,000 population. And in 2021, over 150 million people in the whole European region were living with mental health condition. And we know that in the past few years, the COVID pandemic made this condition very worse. So after this COVID, we can see a number of people with mental illness, right? So this statistics clearly shows that there is a huge research has to be done in this particular area. And now let's see the number of publications in the title Artificial Intelligence and Mental Health published in the PubMed, right? If you look at this year, so starting from 85 to till 2019. So if you look at this graph, there is the increase in number of publication in the area of artificial intelligence and mental health. So this statistics shows there is very large advancement in this area. That is, there is a possibility of using AI for predicting or helping people with mental health condition. So now let's see how might this AI support the mental health. So as we've seen previously, the following techniques have most potential to impact in this area. So let us consider the machine learning and deep learning technique, right? So this machine learning and deep learning techniques capable of providing or diagnosing some mental health condition and predicting the patient outcome. Say, for example, nowadays, some wearables are very common, right? So we have Apple Watch or some Fitbits. So these wearables continuously get the patient data, right? So from this wearable data, we can easily get the state of the person, whether the person is active or the person is sleeping, or what is the heart rate variability of a person, right? So if you look at this wearable data, so we can easily get the mental state of the person, right? So we have to process this wearable data by means of a machine learning or deep learning technique. Then we can easily get to know the mental state of a person. So this is how this both machine learning and deep learning help us in getting the mental state of a person. Then we can also use computer vision. So this computer vision for image data analysis and understanding the non-verbal cues such as facial expression, gesture, and the human pose, right? So now almost all our cameras are on, right? So by processing this video, we can easily guess whether the person is sitting straight or the person is not in a proper posture, right? So most of us, we are not sitting straight, right? So we have to keep our spine 90 degree, right? Then only our spine expose very less load, right? If you bend your spine, definitely it exposes nearly 40 to 50% excess load, right? So you become very tired. That is why your professor asks you to sit straight in the class, isn't it? So we can use this computer vision to get to know the posture of a human. I have done some work in this area, right? Human posture detection for rehabilitation exercise as well as for yoga posture identification. And we can also use natural language processing. Say nowadays, if you call the hospitals, right, most of the time hospital phones are engaged, right? So in an emergency situation, if you want to get immediate help from the hospital, right? So most of the multi-specialty hospital, they are dealing with thousands of patients, right? They may not be in a position to attend all the calls. In such situation, we can use this chatbot, which uses this natural language processing, and this chatbot computer programs help us in engaging the patient. And using this chatbot, they can book appointments to the particular specialist in the hospital, or they can order medicine and so on, right? So by this phase, all these techniques, machine learning, deep learning, computer vision, and NLP help us in engaging the patient or help us in improving the mental state of a patient, right? So now let's see the examples of how this artificial intelligence is transforming the mental health industry. Analyzing the patient data to assess the risk of developing the mental health conditions, classify disorder, and optimize the treatment plan, right? As I mentioned, so we got to analyze the patient health record, electronic health record. So by means of analyzing the patient health record, we can, by digging this, we can get a lot of useful information, right? So if you go to the doctor, if you prescribe a medicine, it is based on only his own experience. There may be a discussion with the colleague in that hospital, right? There may be a discussion. But if you take the electronic health record from many hospitals in and around the world, then we can come up with a very specific that is a treatment plan, right? In order to do this, we need a supercomputer or AI kind of thing to dig with this huge amount of we have to get the information from this huge amount of data. Then the secondly, conducting self-assessment and therapy sessions. Say for example, after the brain stroke, maybe a ischemic or a hemorrhage, so we need to plan some recovery exercises, right? So if we employ this AI for this kind of rehabilitation exercises, or the rehabilitation exercise for people with some mental disorder or people with degenerative neurological disorders, right? We can develop a virtual reality kind of thing. I hope the previous session also, Madam mentioned some of VR kind of thing for patient engagement or improving the mental state of a person, right? So I seen in our hospital there is a system called Rigametrics, right? So this Rigametrics is a kind of AI system, right? Using this Rigametrics, we can easily treat the patient with vertigo, that is the people with the loss of balance, right? So we can give a personalized exercise to a particular patient, right? Similarly, that is a post stroke or that is a stroke recovery also, using this AI kind of system, we can prescribe a personalized exercise to the particular patient, right? And thereby we can reduce the burden or workload of that is a doctor in the hospital. Then enhancing the patient engagement, that is we have a chatbot kind of thing for engaging the patient, equipping therapists with the technology to automate daily workflows, right? See, nowadays the doctors are treating hundreds of patients in a hospital, right? They are also involved in teaching, right? So it is with the help of AI, it is possible to sum of their workflow. Say, for example, they are prescribing medicine, right? We have that is a voice translation system. If the doctor speak the particular medicine, so by processing this doctor voice by means of natural language processing, the system is capable of generating the medical prescription, right? So like this, we can automate some of the therapist daily workflow, so which was really helpful for them. The next is AI to treat teenagers with schizophrenia. So if you look at this brain of people, everyone brains responds differently, meaning some treatments will work for some people but not for the other people, right? So the idea of precision medicine is data to make decision. So we have to have a close look at the person's data, right? Then what type of medicine is suitable for the particular category of people, right? Say, let us consider these images were originally taken for analyzing a person with Parkinson's disease, right? Similarly, similar such images are taken for treating people with schizophrenia, right? So in this case, by means of analyzing these kind of MRI images of the that is previous data, right? We can prescribe a personalized medicine. So such kind of AI will make decisions, right? So here we can apply deep learning to learn what type of people brains respond to what type of treatments. So by analyzing this, we can come up with a personalized medicine. Then this is another work done by my student Shalini, right? So here we try to use the deep learning to detect the P300 event in the EEG signal, right? So detecting the latency of this particular event in the EEG signal, we can analyze the latency of a person, right? Say if you take a people with Parkinson's or people with some neurological degenerative disorder, right? Their latency is greater than 300 millisecond in the EEG signal, right? So in order to conduct this kind of experiment, we got to provide some visual stimulus or auditory stimulus to the patient, then we got to record the EEG. So in this study, they used 64 channel. Actually, this data set is available in PhysioNet, right? So here the data is recorded by 64 channel EEG, and this EEG is integrated with the Tonsin speller, right? So Tonsin speller is nothing but it is a display device. It randomly displays the characters, right? And the person who involved in the study is asked to memorize some target. Say your target may be the letter I, and you are asked to count how many times this particular letter I displayed in this Tonsin speller appeared in the display. Then you have to count. So your mind is very busy in searching this particular target character I or some particular character, right? Then you have to count for that. Then if this particular character appear in the display, this ERP, event related potential P300 is elicited in your brain, and this P300 appears as a small downgoing peak in the EEG signal. And for a normal person, this P300 will occur exactly between 250 or 280 to 300 to 320 millisecond. So if this P300, this particular event appears in this range, then we can infer that the person is normal. He is responding very quickly to any stimulus. Else we can infer that the persons have some neurological disorder. So in order to conduct this study, we have taken this image, EEG signal, then we have used deep learning to analyze this P300. And coming to the application of artificial intelligence in psychiatry and neuroscience, right? So if you analyze the there is a neurological disorder, right? We got to look at the walking pattern of a person, that is gait analysis. So gait analysis is very important analysis in case of neurological science or in psychiatry, right? So in gait analysis, the person is allowed to walk in a particular mat, then particular that is area, then we have to record the step of a person, right? Then we have to collect this that is gait data. There are many ways by which one can collect this gait data, right? So there are sensors available to collect this data. The person is asked to walk in a sensor mat, the mat having some VGRF kind of sensor. It gives the data, that is a step. If you step on that mat, then that particular area is stimulated, then it gives the signal to the computer. Else we can employ a video camera, right? Video camera to watch the motion, right? So by means of analyzing this video, we can easily get the gait pattern or gait parameter from the video. So these gait parameters are used by the AI system, right? So the AI system is capable of classifying different types of neurodegenerative diseases, say Parkinson's disease, ataxia, cerebral autopsy. See, this kind of neurological disorder can easily classified by analyzing gait pattern, right? So this is another work done by my student. And coming to this, there is AI in neuroscience again. So here there is a data set available in the internet, right? So here we have done a study by including this patient with cerebral ataxia. We have considered 19 patients, and hereditary spastic paraplegia 26 patient, and Parkinson disease 32 patient. We have considered this group for this study. Here we have collected this gait data from this group of people, and we employed this machine learning techniques. So here we call it as this is the ensemble learner or voting based ensembler. Here we have considered 5 such machine learning systems, namely decision tree, k nearest neighbor, KNN, support vector machine, naive Bayes, and random forest. Say if I show any image to this system, right, it may be any of these 3 category, or it may be a healthy control. So there are 4 groups of data. One is CA, cerebellar ataxia, or HSP, PD, Parkinson disease, or healthy control. This is the 4 category, right? So if I show the data to all the 5 machine learning techniques, right? Say this machine learning techniques decision tree performs well for a particular group of people, right? People with cerebellar ataxia, and may not find persons with Parkinson disease, right? So similarly, all these machine learning techniques performs better for a particular group of data and may not perform well for other group of data. That is why we are going to consolidate the advantages of all the 5 systems. Say for example, I am showing data with cerebellar ataxia. Then these 3 systems say the person is yes, right? The person with cerebellar ataxia, and these 2 systems tell it is not a cerebral ataxia or the person is a healthy control. Here there are 3 systems, it votes this particular category of disease, right? So 3 here, it is only 2 say it is not belong to this particular category. So this voting machine takes this majority, right? So we have created such a kind of artificial intelligence system to classify this neurodegenerative disease as healthy control or cerebellar ataxia, hereditary spastic paraplegia, or Parkinson disease. And here we achieved a maximum testing accuracy of 93.1%. Okay, so this is another achievement in this neuroscience area. Then another important application of AI is, as I mentioned, we can use AI technology for rehabilitation exercise, or we can also use this AI kind of system for yoga posture detection, right? So there is a interesting app available in the Play Store called Genia, right? So this Genia is based on this AI technology. It continuously records the live video, and it help you to do a particular yoga posture, right? By continuously taking your video, and it gives a visual as well as audio feedback, right? So if you want to stay in a particular position, and in the right side of the screen, right, there is a tutor, right? And this video shows how to do this particular exercise. And if you are not following that instruction, it continuously gives a voice command. You have to raise your leg, or you have to move your body this side or that side. A similar kind of feedback is given by this kind of system, right? So here we used a simple camera, right, web camera, to continuously get the video, right? Then from that we assessed the body posture, right? So here this picture clearly shows how this particular AI system works. Right here, the tutor or the person who is expert in the area is performing the exercise, right? We are capturing this that is tutor exercise motion. Then it is stored in the system. The same camera is used to capture the person who is practicing that, right? Then we are comparing these 2 exercises, right? Say you have to sit in a mountain pose, right? Then the tutor performing that particular pose in a very exact manner, right? This data is compared with the person who is practicing that. Then this gives a visual feedback as well as the voice feedback to correct the posture, and they have to follow the exercise. I have show you the work done by my student Lakshmi Pautra. She is now working in Robert Boss, Bangalore. Yeah, so this is a body posture recorded by the web camera, right? So here this AI-based system gets the joint angles, right? Joints, right? So here we have considered most predominant joints in our bodies, say hip joint, knee joint, ankle joint, and so on, right? Then we are continuously tracking this joint angle. We are measuring the joint angle. For this, from this raw video, we can easily infer that if these joint angles are like this, then we can say it is a mountain pose. So the system identifies, if you give this particular still image or this video, right? If you stand like this, then the system is capable of identifying this is a mountain pose, right? And we have developed a metric to validate this, right? We call it as structural similarity or postural similarity index, right? So this particular pose, this shows in green color, that is, it is a 99% accurate. So she is doing this mountain pose very correctly, and they achieve accuracy of 99%. 99% rightly doing this particular exercise. Say in this third picture, she is in a different posture, then the accuracy is reduced to 76%. And here he is sitting actually for this particular mountain pose. See how to stand, right? Then here for this pose, the accuracy is even low. It is around 44%. So using this kind of system, right? Just like mountain pose, actually it is designed for yoga posture recognition and providing guidance for or training for yoga. And we can also employ this kind of system for providing a rehabilitation exercise. So we have developed a versatile system here. If you do some kind of exercise, and for a particular time, say you are going to do exercise for 1 minute, then this 1 minute video is recorded, and the system learns some of the key points from this video, and this key points is stored in the database, right? And the next time, if you put the system into action, and the system gives a guideline, right? This is how you go to do this exercise. And also on the other side, it monitors how you are doing the exercise, right? Then it compares and gives the feedback. So this kind of system is capable of adapting to any nature. So using this system, you can use it for training yoga, or you can prescribe a particular kind of exercise for that is a post recovery of a stroke patient, and so on. And coming to the opportunities of this technology, artificial intelligence in mental health. So recently you maybe watched the news, that is the president of Open AI met our Prime Minister Narendra Modi. They discussed about that is applications of AI in the development of the country, right? So mental health tech continues to be the best funded space in digital health. So day to day, if you watch the news, there are some news in this area, right? Artificial intelligence. So especially for mental health, right? We can get a huge fund from the funding agency. And according to CB Insight, the state of mental health tech in 2021 report, mental health tech companies raised nearly $5.5 billion worldwide, and approximately 324 projects. And this is actually nearly 139% increase from the previous year. So this clearly shows that there is a huge amount of fund available for doing AI, there is for developing AI-based system for mental health. And if you look at the number of startups in this area, in the last year, that is in 2022, there is a startup company. The product is called Vaisa. So it is a kind of AI-based chatbot, and they received nearly 20 million US dollar funding. And another startup company is Blue Sky, and they are working on improving the early diagnosis of diseases. As I mentioned, early diagnosis means you got to go for screening, right? Screening of particular disease, screening of some heart disease, screening of breast cancer, lung cancer, or screening of some other diseases. And another deal is Uphill. So this Uphill is a startup company. They are based on there is a smart note. They are intended to develop a smart notebook for mental health professionals. Hello. And another startup is Glare and Me, and it is based on mental health companion. They received $1 million. So these are all these things shows that there is a huge opportunity for AI professional in this mental health area. And the other side of this is it also poses a challenge, right? AI in mental health research is unbalanced and is mostly used to study the depressive disorder, schizophrenia, and other psychotic disorders. This indicates a significant gap in our understanding of how they can be used to study other mental health conditions. So if you look at the literature, most of the study are only for these few areas of mental health: depressive disorders, schizophrenia, and psychotic disorders. But we have to explore all the mental health, that is the application of AI in all the areas. So that is one challenge. Then we have to understand the condition well, right? And the study found significant flaws in how the AI application process statistics, infrequent data validation, and little evaluation of the risk of bias, right? Even in the previous study, we have included only hundreds of people for the study. So this leads to risk of bias, right? So this that is the person they are involved in the study may be from a particular geographical region, or they may belong to a particular age group, right? So in order to validate such kind of system, we have to include large amount of diverse people, right? That is one of the important thing, and it is really a challenging one. And there is a gap between the data engineer and the healthcare professional. We got to reduce this gap, right? So data engineering for AI model seems to be overlooked or misunderstood, and the data is often not adequately managed. So inadequate data. And the last one, the challenge is lack of transparency in reporting AI model. So AI is seen as a black box, right? If you put something and it throws something, right? So nowadays there is something called explainable AI, right? But actually, if you look at this AI, we cannot interpret, we cannot show the person this is how this AI model works, right? So because it involves millions of neurons, or it involves a lot of calculation and which are hidden, right? And it is seen as the black box. This is one of the if you want to convince the person, you got to explain how the model works, and this is another challenge. And coming to the conclusion, the field of AI, artificial intelligence, will advance mental health research and practice, and is becoming a bigger aspect of digital medicine. The future of AI in mental health is promising. As researchers and clinicians, we must actively participate in directing the integration of AI into clinical care by providing our clinical expertise and collaborating with the data scientists, computational scientists, and other specialists to reform mental health practice and improve the patient care. As I mentioned, if you want to develop a system for any application, we have to understand the problem first. For that, if you want to develop a AI system for mental health, we have to very closely work with the persons involved in, that is the clinicians or researchers involved in the study, right? So only from the clinicians only we can get that expertise. Then we should work very closely with them. Then only we can completely impart this knowledge with the system, right? These are some of the references, and also in my slide I have mentioned in few slide some of the references are mentioned then and there. And now I'm at the end of my presentation. Thank you very much for your patient listening, and I would like to hear. I'm ready to answer some of your queries.
Yes, sir.
Sir, I would like to complete the session by giving you the feedback. Good morning to
Yes,
the presenter, Dr. Gopal Krishnan sir, and all the facilities and students that are surrounded here. It is surely very acknowledging to know about whatever you said about AI, its approaches, the applications, right from the history to the things that we are still doing now. And I'm very much happy to say that we can ourselves indulge in this industry. Like in near future, I would like to see this computer, that is AI, fusing with medicine, so we can help and provide more intensive care to the patients. And I would be surely seeing more of this. So thank you, sir, for sharing your vulnerable time with us and acknowledging us about the technologies and newfound AI things around India. Thank you.
Thank you, Justin, for your feedback. Thank you.
Students, do you have any queries? Any doubts? Okay, sir.
Okay,
I think
sir.
we don't have the queries, doubts, sir.
Okay, sir.
In vote of thanks, good afternoon all. I consider it a great privilege to propose a vote of thanks to all the dignitaries who have witnessed it as a memorable and successful event. On behalf of our institutions, first and foremost, I thank our today's speaker, Mrs. G. Nirmala, PhD scholar, lecturer, Nursing Department, College of Health and Sports Sciences, Ministry of Higher Education, University of Bahrain. And Dr. S. Gopalakrishnan has been a senior biomedical engineering professor at TAG College of Technology, who despite the busy schedule has found time to grace this occasion. I wish to thank Dr. Jayasudha A, who is really a guiding and constant motivating force behind our endeavor. I would like to thank Professor Meera Saravanan, Vice Principal, HOD of Mental Health Nursing Department, and Mental Health Nursing Department team members. Thanks for supporting me. Then I thank all the distinguished invitees present here accepting our invitations. I may like to express our sincere thanks to principal and management of different institutions who have been motivating the faculty and students to participate and make this online session as a successful event. Thank you. Thank you all.
Thank you,
Students,
sir.
Yes, sir.